Hello everybody! Welcome back to another episode of The Binding of Isaac Repentance. We are playing the worst character of all time. We are playing the worst character that I hate. And, oh, buddy. It does not make me feel happy where I have to deal with these characters. This is by far the worst character, in my opinion, that I think my brain can't comprehend anything, because it's two different controls. You know, it's two different controls, and I think probably I'm losing subscribers because people love this character and I continue to rag on it. Where I'm just like, now, like, we're sort of at the end time. You know, I'm very, very close to my 1 year on The Binding of Isaac, which is really awesome. And so many memories already with YouTube where, you know, I'm sort of, I probably will go back to making it live for certain things, because now we only have certain things left. But, like challenges and everything, at this point we really only have one challenge, left that's not unlocked, and it's really not fun. It's getting really hard right now, so it is what it is. You know, I think now it's the premise. It's the, okay, I'm probably gonna fail a lot, and that's quite alright. Right now I just don't want to hit Baby Plum because, one, it's a baby, and two, it gives you a nice active item that I could put on one of these characters, and you can run away now, Baby Plum. Running away. So, normally, with these two characters, I don't try to make anything, you know, crazy or anything. We're just trying to get to the lovely beast and or mother eventually. But, it is alright, I suppose. It's fine. It's just I really need to either get lucky or just play better with these two, and that's the only way how I'm gonna improve. Period. That's literally the only way how I'm gonna improve. I mean, like I've said before, I personally think this is the hardest character, and some of you watching this, which I'm extremely surprised, you don't even want to play The Binding of Isaac, so you're just here for my rants. I am extremely grateful for that. I am thankful to all the gods out there, truly, wholeheartedly. Thank you. We will go on a rant in just a second. And there goes my deal with double chance. But I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy. But it's weird. You know, I'm probably gonna go mixture where Soul of Azazel, very good. Very good. Oh, look, the Forget Me Now. It's pretty good, pretty tempting though. Pretty tempting because of I need more stats with these two characters, and, you know, getting a free item room and a free boss could really benefit us, so that's very good to know. But it really dawned on me that this year's almost over. I recorded episode 1 on December 31st, okay? That of 2021, actually. That's insane, okay? Why am I bombing that? Why am I bombing? Yeah, there you go. Back off. Yeah, I don't need Mr. Meeksy because, honestly, I'm gonna most likely take the Forget Me Now. And like the Forget Me Now, that's basically my life right now. And Guppy's Eye, pretty gosh darn good. Pretty gosh darn good right now. But it is very, very interesting for me that this year has surprised me in so many different levels. You know, looking back on it, hey, look, free done. Looking back on it and like seeing what I've overcome and, you know, changing into a different person, where I think last year was supposed to be the year of growth. Last year was generally supposed to be the year of growth for me, and unfortunately it just wasn't. It didn't. It took a lot of bad energy and mojo to create the person that I am now. So it's very, very interesting on how many people have come back in my life slash community, and it's just fathomable to me. I'm so happy, but I'm also at the weird thing where, okay, well, what if I went through these changes earlier? Would I have been a better person before, or like, is it just better that it happened to me now? And it's just one of those things where I'm just like, wow, you know, I had to basically lose it all to like become a better person in a weird scenario. Like that was just my process, unfortunately. But that's just how it was. And within a year, you know, there's not enough time, in my opinion, for a year. There's not. Like, ultimately, wholeheartedly, a year is not enough time in a year. And that may sound silly, but I recently heard that a few people do this, where they chop their day up into 6 hours. So 12 to 6 a.m., 6 a.m. to 12, 12 to 6, and then you know, you plan it out six hours in advance. And I'm like, that's very interesting, because virtually speaking, real talk, we're only doing things, you know, you don't have just one goal for the day. Maybe you do, but if you chop it up into like, okay, well, now I'm gonna do 4 things, then maybe you could just get a lot done, which is a very, very interesting thesis in a way. You know, it's a very, very good thesis. But what? Yeah, I struggled here a lot. I struggled. But you know, let me know how you think about that, because, you know, obviously, I don't sleep. For me, I just don't sleep whatsoever. I have a very hard time sleeping, and, you know, my POV actually made me, my thought process is just like, well, I'm awake. Instead of just like watching YouTube, I could create YouTube right now. So it's very, very interesting. It's very, very interesting to me. Like, did I hit all my goals that I wanted to? Honestly, I feel like I'm such a better person. And, you know, my original goal for this channel is 250 subs. That's it. And it took a while, for sure. Like, I think maybe I didn't even have like 1 month. And like, if for me, I don't vision anything. Like, my vision scenario is like destroyed in my mind, where unfortunately my brain is just like, there is no future for you, give up right away. But if I give up right away, you know, then that's not really helping me out. And I had very few setbacks, which was really good. Like, my biggest problem is me. The seed is FBEWMWL3. Thank you, past me, for waiting a very long time for doing that. But it is very weird for me, and I'm no exception to the rule where I'm just like, this is me, and that's the good thing. That's the good thing, where nobody could really fix me except myself, and like doing things that I don't want to do, and you know, that's my limit, and I'm like, I don't want to be here. So I mean, I feel very happy. Like, am I like ecstatic every day? Of course not. But my brain aspect is, hey, that's okay to not feel happy every day, because I just appreciate the amazing days, and then I just melt, like, have a breakdown, and it's great. It's not great, but it makes me happy. It makes me know that I could feel, because I've had a few years where I was just like, well, I'm gonna feel Mumford of the day, and it's not fun. It's not. Like, I'd much rather feel some things and then positivity one day, and you know, and I just feel good. And you know, for me, I don't really like you know, making New Year's resolutions. You know, I've posted what my goals are for next year. Do I think that I could do it? I don't know. Like, for me, I don't want to set myself up to fail, but life is all about risk. And that like, that is what I really want to work on next year, taking more risks, because nobody's gonna know how I'm gonna feel, or you know, like certain things or whatever, but like, nobody could try it for me, if that makes sense. Where absolutely I've grown, but you know, life is just full of experiences, and you know, the way I talk, the way I think, where it's a very interesting theory. It's a very, very interesting theory. But I mean, I'm not afraid to admit where I'm just like, okay, well, yeah, no, I'm scared, or I'm whatever, because for me, I've always said, be open to who you are. Be open, because there's no reason for you to not be open with, you know, other people in a weird way, because if you like them, they're gonna find out everything. They're gonna find out eventually, and that's why I'm just like, well, okay. This is a very weird thing, by the way. Sometimes Plum doubles, and I don't know why. Like, sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't, just on a random note. But, you know, the only person, like, for me, like, one of my things is, you know, to be in a voice acting project online. I'd love to do that. Is it possible? Heck yeah, it's possible. Absolutely, it's possible. But I'm really the only one that's stopping me. So it's just like, well, okay, am I focusing on it? No. You know, should I complain about it? No. So it's a very, very weird thing where, you know, I know I'm the problem. See, look, 2 plums. Why did I get 2 plums? I don't understand. But it's just that, like I said, it's a very interesting thesis that, you know, being courageous is not one of my goals for next year. It's not. And on a weird way, I don't really want it to be. Because if I put it on a list, and I look at it, and I keep on failing, I think that's just going to screw with me more. And that's not fun. It is not fun whatsoever. But next year, like, I've been talking to a lot of people. I mean, the plumber had to come back, and I'm gonna use him as an example, where he's just like, well, you know, I really want to do the Air Force, but X, Y, and Z, you know, I wanna do it next year. I'm like, well, what's stopping you? Like, there's tons more of excuses than anything else in life, and that's a fact. And I completely understand that more than anybody else, where it's just like, well, okay, excuses make us do things that we may or may not want to do, but if you don't really put yourself out there, who's really at fault? Because there's always shoulda, woulda, coulda. You know, I could have started this YouTube channel years ago. Or I coulda did this, I coulda done that. Where I'm just like, I just don't care. Where I'm just like, I'm happy that I'm here now. Okay, like, I don't think that my mental stability could have handled everything at once. And that's just a pure fact. That's a pretty gosh darn good item. And you know who I'm gonna give it to? Me. But the nail is also a very good item. And you can have that. Enjoy. So, the nail is gonna recover him. I have enough DPS, in my opinion, to sorta get with it. But, it's just, the New Year's happening. Like, is there gonna be a new me? Boy, I don't know. Like, I feel like, especially within the last few months, especially on Twitch, I've been more goofier than ever. And I couldn't thank anybody else but my community. I can't. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky that I have amazing people that, you know, they want, one, I think they understand my limits, and they push that boundary. I mean, certain people, I definitely feel like, oh my god, you know, they're not followers, you know, they're siblings in my mind. But it's just really fun, and they make me feel, you know, not uncomfortable by any means. Hey, look, the straw, what a good item. But they make me try new things, try new games, and it's very as simple as that, because, you know, if you play what you know, okay, and you're just not happy with it eventually, I mean, that was a real POV that I had, where I'm just like, I love Spyro. I've only did Spyro for about, like, maybe 6 months in my whole career. Because, and that's a really long time to play one game, in my opinion. That was dumb. So, you know, I really have to figure out what the curiosity factor is, but do I fear what may or may not happen? Where I'm just like, I've always said this, you can't fear the unknown because you just don't know. The unknown isn't bad. We just fear the unknown because we don't like change as human beings. And that's a fair scenario. You never, like, for me, for example, the people that come into my life could change my perspective on things. And hypothetically, the way you listen to this as well, it could change you as well. So it is a very, very interesting thing to think about. Because if I would have never met, you know, there's a potential that you're, you know, down the road, where you could just be like, oh my god, you know, he makes me happy or whatnot. It just goes like that, where it's just like, well, okay, well, he makes me happy, who cares? And that's all that should matter. And then, oh my god, well, he's changing the way how I feel about certain things, and, you know, X, Y, and Z. But, I mean, it's the people that come into your life. It's always been my fascination where no matter what, as a content creator, people will come and people will go. And that's the very weird thing where I want to make it in a way that I want to make an impression more than anything else to people, because I could basically just see you for one day. I could just see you for maybe an hour. It's a very, very interesting thing to think about. Now, I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to gain hearts here and money for him. And then my infestation shot is just basically fine for right now. Because the more charges I get with him, the better. And I'm not really worried about what I have here, so just in case while I'm ranting you're just like, well, what is he doing? That's basically what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to gain him more charges, basically not waste all that I have, and then just take it from there. But that is my mindset right now. That is basically what I want to happen. And I've always learned, I always thought like that, you know, even when I wasn't in the streaming community, especially with school. School was very, very hard, where it's just like, well, okay, I'm never gonna see you again. Let me make the most of it. And I've always believed in that. I've generally always believed, because that's the mindset that for me I gotta have just to make me feel happy in a weird way. Do I go in the curse room? Do I go in the curse room? I shouldn't, but hey. I've learned my lesson with buttons, and I will never be pressing another button as long as I'm here. But you know, everybody could leave. You know, everybody could leave your life and be grateful. There should be no ill content, and that's a very nice word to put it. There should be no ill intentions, or, you know, I'm gonna use you or anything, but that's not how, unfortunately, the way works sometimes, where anyone could build you up, but also, in a weird way, they could build you down. Where the new year, like, the new year isn't just about meeting people as well. It's, the people that you know could also grow for sure. You know, I recently had somebody in my life where, you know, I had to tell them, where I'm just like, well, why don't you reach out to me? You know, I just don't personally get it. Like, why do I always have to reach out to you? You know, like, I don't want to be a baby, but, you know, it just upsets me. And they're just like, oh my god, like, thank you for telling me. And, like, no matter how they feel, you know, the over complications of things, it's just one of those things where you just grow together. Where it's not like, oh, well, what could I do to be a better person, or like, you know, how could I, you know, how could I make long-lasting friendships? Because I personally believe, in my mind, there are no long-lasting relationships. That's just my POV, where they're like, no matter what, the only real reason why I say that is somebody's unfortunately going to have to pass on first, you know, and it's weird. It's very, very weird about that, because you can know someone as long as, you know, you know them, But it's for me, it's the memories, and I have a lot of. I have more memories that are more interesting, I'd say, than positive. Thank you, DualShock controller. I appreciate it. But it's for me. I'm very solace, and you know, Twitch is sort of my way out, where I feel like people online, they're so, I'm not gonna say rude, but they definitely can be. You know, just like with pop culture or celebrities, or just like, you would never say that to somebody's face. You know, I don't know why you would even consider it saying that to somebody's face, but I just find it interesting more than anything, because our people that you know, do they build you up? That's the thesis here. That's the scenario where the people you know, oh, absolutely could make or break you. And I wanna, like, for me, it's more of people that I've known for so long make me feel differently about certain things. You know, I know it sounds very silly, but it's totally true. But enough about that. For the new year, how else could you grow? You know, and, you know, just looking back on it, you know, for me, I learned certain projects that I think I didn't want to fail, obviously, but it really helped me get my mind in check with multitasking, because now there's no real reason for me to overexert myself. You know, I just don't think it's good for me. And I really needed to fail to really realize that. And I know that may sound really silly, and that's one way that I've grown for sure. You know, a very negative thing that happened is, you know, I think I've lost more of my family. And, you know, they're alive, but when people move on and pass on, they change. And it didn't hit me when I was younger. I'm just like, oh my god. So, and one big thing that I've learned, as silly as it can be, is I realized I'm not always the problem, or I'm always not the person that should learn to say sorry. Like, oh my god, like, I apologized for nothing. Like, for literally nothing. And having that pressure on, and having that sort of morale in a weird way, be like, oh, it's not my fault, it's you. You know, it actually generally feels good. And like, I wouldn't be like going out there and be like, yes, you know, but it's a very weird scenario. But you know, the question of the day is gonna be, even though it's not New Year, I don't know when you're listening to this. I could talk about New Year every episode, and you know, the same people may or may not listen to it. If you listen to all the episodes, you know, leave a comment, because I'd be shocked, and I'd be like, what? You know, I actually had a comment on my old YouTube for past broadcasts, and you could go check that out in my About Me on my YouTube page, and go check out my past broadcasts and see where I came from technically. But it is a very, very weird thing that you know, the growth, and it hit me. It generally really hit me more than anything, where I'm just like, well, okay, double sun card, not good in my opinion. I'll take the sun and I'll take the nail. But, you know, Plum's sort of killing it. Plum is definitely killing it. Pentagram, I don't think we need. But, I just had a comment on that. I'm just like, what? Like, I don't know what's going on, and I feel really weird. But, you know, it's something that I've always need to, look back on. Look back on, because for me, I don't look at the past. I don't, because it's not what makes me who I am. And God, I hate when I'm taking a dookie and people are laughing at me. Gosh darn it. So here comes the coup de grace. We could make it to the final. And the good thing is, heck, we're getting hit a bunch, so I will gladly take that. And look at the little thief here, by the way. Look at the little thief. Thanks for the bomb, I guess. I mean, hey. But the new year is coming. Christmas is coming too for me, and for me, I just don't care about it. Like, I don't want to be like bah humbug, but it's one of those things where it's just a normal day for me. It really is, and you know, you don't think about it when you're older, but you know, I was very grateful to like have the amazing memories with you know, the people that were there, because you know, in my opinion, the Christmas cycle is different, where, you know, stage one is you're the child and you get to open presents and you get freebies and everything. Then when you're a teenager, it's pretty much the same thing, maybe less toys or more toys, you never know, or more expensive items. You know, more clothing and everything. And then when you're an adult, it could sort of stop, where it's just like, well, okay, well, we're just gonna go. You're gifting presents to people. And then, you know, it may stop, and that's mainly adulthood right there. And then, if you meet somebody and you want kids, or you have grandkids or something, then it starts all over again, where now you're the person that's gifting to a child, and it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. You know, how, in retrospect, yeah, time flies. And I think maybe, for me at least, Christmas was definitely that holiday where it wasn't really about the gifts for me. And, you know, every kid's gonna be like, yeah, don't get me wrong, I loved getting a PS1 for Christmas, and, all this jazz, you know, getting a... I still think, like, mentally speaking, I think I generally skipped out on the PS2. Because I had my DS at the time. I don't think, you know, looking back on it, I don't think I ever owned a PS2. And I've always said to myself, oh yeah, I had a PS2. And I don't think in reality I did. But I had a PS3. Very, very big difference. But not really. Because that was the year where I'm just like, oh my god, you know, I got a PS3 with the money that I got, and I'll never forget, when the PS3 came out, I got the games. I generally got the games. I got, like, Little Big Planet. I got very weird PS3 games, and it's funny that I remember my PS1 games more than PS2, but, it's true, I very much do. Right now, I had a contemplating where I'm just like, well, do I just go get the nail? But, no, I'm just like, no, thanks. And I'm like, well, I might as well use the 2 of diamonds card to go get that soul heart for, not Jacob, the other one. So, it was just like, well, okay, I'm gonna go get the PS3 with my own money and, just take it from there. And it was such a interesting feeling. December 26th, the launch of the PS3, where we waited in line for hours, maybe 2 hours, my mom and I, because the line was so out the door, but she stuck to her word, where I'm just like, well, if you want it, you gotta use your own money, use the gift cards that you got, and, it was just an amazing feeling. It was a very interesting feeling. You know, waiting in line, that was my first big launch. Fool. And, it's Christmas is a very, you know, it's supposed to be a nice, peaceful time. And, you know, I very had the classic American Christmas where, oh my god, snow and, you know, everything that you could ever dream of on Christmas, you know. The only thing we didn't do is really decorations, but we had a vintage Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus that was in front of our windows, I guess, in back of the windows, but other people could see. And then we just had that, and then a tree, and, you know, now that I'm adult, I'm just like, I don't want a tree, it's too messy, and, you know, it was just a lot of work that I felt bad, which was weird. It, like, granted, it didn't matter how I felt, you know, the parents are gonna do whatever they want, but, you know, it was very, very interesting for me as a perspective as a child to basically be like, oh, well, this is very quite interesting.
The stars.
Because I have one parent that really, really loves the Christmas mood, where I was just like, yeah, do it for the kids. And now I have another parent at the time that's just like, I hate doing this, but I'm not doing this. So it was a very, very weird scenario, I guess, you know, growing up. But I mean, we all have weird things, and, you know, I wasn't grateful. Oh, excuse me. I wasn't ungrateful, where it was just weird. It was just weird looking at it. Like, the Grinch and Santa Claus over here, or Mrs. Claus, really likes the Christmas mood. So that was really my perspective, and we're making good time, and we're doing a lot of decent damage with Jacob here, which I am extremely grateful. This is a decent build. This is a very decent build. And you know, that's how certain things that's how certain habits develop, if you will. And, you know, I feel jolly. You know, let me do a bonus question of the day. Where did you have any Christmas traditions? Because, you know, like I said, I really had nothing. Like, Christmas-wise, like, I never made cookies for Santa. We would, maybe one year we would make cookies, but for us. But it's just a very weird scenario as well, where I'm just like, who? Like, I just watched a very classic Christmas movie, Santa Claus. Never seen 3, and I don't really want to see 3. I think I've only seen the first 2, and I think now they're making a 4th, which is pretty insane. But, like, they're bringing back stuff when, even before I was growing up. Like, we didn't need another Christmas story for the person growing up. Was it cool? Yeah, probably. But I just don't think we needed it. But it's all about making money. And, you know, as a you can't really tell the person, no, I don't want to make money. So, hey, if they see an interesting way on making money, I'm sure everybody will do it. So, it's just leave the stuff in the past, learn from your past, and that's really virtually it. But of course not. I hate this room. I hate this room. Yep. You know, we can't take too much damage. Blank rune. Alga's resistance, of course, probably one of the best runes that we could get, but we didn't need it there. Hey, what's up, Lust? But, you know, Christmas is it's a very lonely time. Very, very lonely. But next year, you know, 1 year, you know, I'm gonna be like, wow, this is an amazing Christmas or, you know, holiday season. Because, you know, it's very silly, but a lot of things I do is silly, huh? But a lot of things, what happens is the main thing is with family, you know, with my sister. If distance is also hard. I wanna let people know on that as well. Where family could definitely be sad as well, unfortunately. Where if you're in a completely different state, I could totally see that perspective. And I didn't think about that until I was older, if you will. You know, I don't necessarily think of, you know, what could potentially change, or, you know, where could you move to. It's something to look back on, if I'm gonna be honest, where it's just like, wow, I didn't think of, you know, moving, and you're losing somebody, you know, maybe somebody you love or whatnot. You know, I was recently watching a show where for them to get married, they needed to drop their family from their life. And I'm like, gee, like, for me, love is love, and I get that. But is it really love if they're just like, hey, leave your family behind, only care about me? Like, granted, it was probably a fake show, probably, but it's one of those things where you only have one family, and I think that's why I'm just like, well, I'm very grateful on how I was raised, and, you know, I only have minor deficiencies, and that really wasn't anybody's
it's gone.
problem
Just get over it.
in my life.
Gone.
Like,
how can you have spent
everything that happened to me, I need to, and I want to put it in a very positive perspective, if that makes sense. I think positivity in that, like, I could turn everything that you know, I say into a positive, but living it is a very different story. Like I said, like, I'm personally half empty kind of guy. But maybe, just maybe, that day could possibly change. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to that day. I'm really looking forward to that day, and, you know, the best thing is, like, well, you could just change your mindset totally. And I'm like, it's very possible. It's very possible. For me, I'm the why bother. Like, I'm the Winnie the Pooh, like, why bother? So, I mean, having nice, I don't know what Fuse Cutter does, so I just leave that be. And we're making really good time.
He's
2 floors down already.
and disturbed, just like his father.
But,
Look at who he has to look up to.
yeah,
You're
it's
drunk, you can't argue.
it goes from
Just keep pushing
physical,
me like this. I'm leaving.
Leave.
physical
We'll be
transformation
fine
for
without
me,
you.
as silly as that sounds.
Abandon us like you abandoned yourself.
And then it goes from, like, for me, I wasn't really happy with my weight. See, the weird thing is, I don't know how, but I drank, when I'm sad and, like really, really depressed, I drink a lot of water and a lot of tea. And, you know, still I just don't eat very well. And, you know, that's fine. I'm not sad. You know, I just see, like, well, why eat? And I think it's unfortunately one of those things where I'm just like, well, I don't eat because, X, Y, and Z. You know, I don't eat because, you know, I knew what it was like to be chunky or, you know, heavy in my adulthood, and, you know, that was a hard struggle to even overcome, and it was definitely one of those things, for sure. And now I have 2 solo disasals, which is very nice. Where I'm not afraid to admit it. Absolutely not. You know, I struggled with weight. I was 180. And certain people are just like, wow, that's not fat, that's not heavy at all. I get it. I get it. Everybody has different perspectives on that. For me, that was very heavy. And the stressitude, if you will, really, really got to me. And I'm like, well, how do I fix this? And now I lost like 40 pounds, which now I'm at the weight where I'm just like, I feel happy. So it's just everything in life, in my personal opinion, is just a mind game. I truly feel like that. It's the mentality that I want to fix myself. How do I fix myself? And you know, communication. You know, that is one thing that I struggled with, and how to be a better, I would say, media personnel. And, you know, I suffer with that, where I'm just like, I don't want to do this, and I feel like I have to do this if I really want to make this my full-time gig, or, you know, passion or whatnot, where I'm just like, well, I've failed in life via maybe not always my fault, but I always want to be better, and I love doing this, and I take it from there, and, you know, that's generally it. And look, we got the Hero Fun card, so that's really good. But certain things in life you need to explore.
You need to confess your
You know.
sins and become saved.
And,
Let his light
you know,
inside
one
you
year-
cleanse your soul.
One year, I hope I could say, hey, look, I made it. You know, is it possible? Absolutely. Absolutely. Would the old me agree with that? No. The old me, I don't think it would have gave up immediately, but it's a very interesting thing where a lot of my habits in my mind, very stupid. A lot of my habits are pretty much the same. And we're probably at least gonna get to Dogma. We're at basement 2, which is hecka nice. Where am I opening up more? Yes. And that is one thing that I truly believe is good. Opening up in a way, basically that means, no, I've always been talkative, you know, to the viewers and everything. And I know deep down, like, maybe certain people, as I've said before, just want me to talk about the game. And that, I completely understand. I completely understand. For me, I want to get you in on something where I'm just like, well, all right, well, let's have a little bit of fun. Let's talk about it, and you know, if you like listening, it's just really one of those things where I'm just like, well, okay, then you could just go and see me live, and then we could talk about it. You know, it's a very, very fun thing to do. Nope, and dead. And we got a lump of coal. Very, very good item. Don't you like how I play equality, by the way? Where I'm just like, well, look at Jacob and look at the other guy. Yeah, the other guy has barely no items, but imagine if I actually had, imagine if I actually had, oh my god, birthright. Birthright would have been way overpowered here, and, you know, I'm still strong no matter what, you know, and, it feels good. And we have one last floor. We have one
Where are you going?
last floor, which is amazing. Come on, come on, come on. You know, let me, like, it feels good, man. It feels like the crawl spaces, man. I've been getting so lucky. Like the crawl spaces are just so good. Like every time, I feel like there's always a crawl space in my opinion. Maybe the last basement. Well, this is a little scary. But I feel good. I like I said, if you don't like the rants, I do apologize. And if you have topics that you want me to talk about, just let me know as well. Cause that goes a long way. You know, I've always loved feedback. You know, and that was another thing where I'm just like, well, if people don't communicate, they may not care, and that's a fair assumption. That is generally a fair assumption, because I've noticed more people want others to fail than succeed, for one reason or another. And I'm not just saying that in my regard. I think I'm like in that suspense where I'm just like, I don't think people care. I don't think like people are just like, ah, yes, Mr. Joe Wilde, I want them to fail. Like, I'm not Taylor Swift where, you know, the press and everybody is just against me, but it's just like, well, okay, well, let's talk about it. And my mental stability is really good. For once, after 5 years where, you know, I started streaming because I wasn't mentally well. I continued streaming with very little equipment, and I got there, then I got my capture card, and I've improved since day one, which I'm very, very grateful. Mom's pearls, sure. Alright, let's do it. Let's do it. And hey, we got the Dogma. Dogma, very, very nice here. And one side done. Now the very bad thing is we're not together. So it's very, very goofy. Where no matter what, someone's getting hit. But that just sort of shows. You know, one thing could really screw up this duo. But hey, it does look like that we're gonna beat Dogma, which is really nice. One step down, the furthest that I have ever got with these two. And you know, this has to be easy because, you know, they're all together. I'm not really doing good damage. I think the Soul of Azazel, I think maybe could be underrated because of, it stinks. It stinks two phases for Dogma. I personally feel like maybe Soul of Azazel could beat one of these very clear as day. But I mean, if I don't get the nail card or plum or something, then I'm just sort of dead. But so far so good. We took 1 hit of damage. Oh, just kidding. No, we didn't. We didn't. That actually did look like a hit though. And Death is down. GG Death. Doing very well so far. Doing very, very well. Like, I'm super focused on the game because, like I said, I hate these characters. I hate them real good. But, you know, one step without them feels really nice. Yeah, get that chub out of here. Get that chub out of here, please. This is nice. Nobody's taken damage so far on Sloth. Of course. And I say something and I get hit. Beautiful. And then something happened, and since I got hit, now we're not in the same position anymore. And this is where I start to panic. This is very much where I start to panic. And I'm like, oh my god. I'm taking way too quick damage for these characters. And of course I forget the fire, but I'm over positioned, and war is done. War is very much done. I don't think we're even gonna get a nice death here. Death is extremely hard in my opinion. Death is extremely hard. We need at least 2 hearts to take more than 1 damage. I switched the position here, but with a lot of his moves, it does not matter. A lot of his moves, and unfortunately, I've died. But if you like what you saw and heard today, my failure, like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you're happy because you made me happy. That was as close as I'm gonna get. Take care, and bye-bye.